Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Hotel Transylvania Transformania. Let me see here. Transformania. So, this one was not directed by Genndy Tartakovsky, and we actually had, changing of voice actors for Drac and Frankenstein. It was also kind of fucked up because of like the pandemic going on. So yeah, this one comes in as the kind of weirdest one and the one that's kind of just like there to a degree. They're like, we have a franchise, let's fucking do shit with it. It's like, all right, and it's. Thing is, I didn't really notice too much with the different kind of voice actors. It isn't like a giant glaring kind of thing kind of going on. I think the replacement voice actors they got did a very suitable job. The main kind of issue goes into that we are kind of repeating certain kind of story beats. I mean, in the third one, we were repeating Johnny and Mavis pretty much with Drac and Erica. And then with this one, we are like, oh, Johnny's a human, which we thought that Drac had pretty much gotten over pretty much at this point. However, we are now celebrating the 125th anniversary of the hotel. Drac's pretty much getting ready to announce his retirement and give it to Mavis and Johnny, but he's afraid of what Johnny's going to do and pretty much tells him, oh, there's a real estate law that only monsters can do. Get this real estate. And then that sets upon the whole kind of Transformania thing, pretty much transforming Drac into a human as well as the rest of his friends, and Johnny into a monster. And then pretty much trying to fuck around and find out how to kind of reverse this shit. And I know that sounds just really kind of bare bones. It's like 87 minutes. I recorded it off of like Nickelodeon, which, by the way, if you have TV, holy goddamn motherfucking shit, they actually put fucking cartoons in between on commercial breaks. I'm like, what the fuck, motherfucker? Sorry, that's got nothing to do with the movie, but how the movie is presented. So it's like, what the fuck? And I know it was also on Prime Video and all that. I would say better off to like watch one of the other first three. Even though I had issues with the third one, this just kind of recycles most of the stuff and then just kind of flips it of like Drac being a human, seeing the rest of them dealing with being human, but we don't really get much on those except for like certain gags and certain kind of set pieces. Drac pretty much trying to figure out how to be human and not be like, oh god, the sun's gonna fucking kill my ass. No. So, we see Johnny pretty much taking over and doing his own kind of party thing for Drac, even though Drac has his own kind of control freak issues, which I wish they would actually delve into, losing his wife, trying to keep Mavis safe, and him having that kind of gigantic need for control, and how he goes about this in a kind of horrendous kind of way of being like, oh yeah, you're not a monster, so you can't get this. Even though he was pretty much going to give it to Mavis, and was like, she would probably be a tempering force, and she's been there for over 100 years, so yeah. And it's even shown at the end of the movie when they do eventually take over the hotel. It looks the same on the outside. They did all the stuff that Johnny, like he was freaking out that Johnny would do anyway, so it's like, alright. So, Johnny pretty much is like despondent at this point, decides to go see Van Helsing to see what's kind of going on. I was like, oh, I got something. And then we go through this whole rigmarole. He's got all this fucking shit in the basement. Because he's turned a new leaf. And it's like, oh yeah, here. And he found this crystal that could turn monsters into humans and humans into monsters. They do it on a guinea pig to make it a monster. And we learn throughout the course of the movie that if you don't switch them off, they're going to turn into like a raving, mindless beast as the guinea pig grows to like gigantic proportions and destroys the hotel. That's at the end. So we see that Johnny gets hit with it and turns pretty much into a lizard kind of dragon thing. Dennis and Winnie see this, but they get hypnotized, so we do get some kind of repercussions on Dennis being half human, half vampire. He can be hypnotized by other vampires. Thank you. Even though at the end of the second movie, he's able to like do wholesale ass whooping without having utilized his powers or tried to kind of train with them as much as you would think. Mavis kind of pretty much figures the stuff out at a certain kind of point because they pretty much hide this stuff, and then she goes to pretty much get Erica and the rest of the people's help. We see Drac pretty much is chasing Johnny throughout the whole thing. He's like, yeah, I'm a monster, kind of shit. It's like, all right, this is probably going to create some problems. Trying to shoot at him before accidentally turning this pretty much statue, water fountain kind of thing with energy to turn things into humans, and accidentally turns himself into a human. And he pretty much just gets, like, shitty hair and a belly. And, of course, he can't fly and everything like that. The rest of his monster friends of, like, Frank, Wayne, Griff, and Murray drink, and we see that, well, what the invisible dude looks without being invisible. Frank turns into this hot dude that's pretty much, like, acting like a hot dude throughout the rest of the movie. That kind of gets old. I don't mind a joke being... jokes you have to watch out for, because if it's just one joke and you just keep repeating it without really that much of a change in difference, it does get kind of grating. South Park should fucking know that with what was going on with Integrity Farms. Holy fucking shit. They've only just now pretty much gotten past that fucking shit. Oh my god. Ugh. Yeah. So, they pretty much check in with Van Helsing and like, all right, listen, you got to pretty much go to South America to do this, like, Cave of Reflection. It's doing all this kind of creepy kind of shit. It's like, yeah, getting into it's a bitch, and you might not even make it out. Ha ha! Because the crystal has cracked and shit. So, we pretty much utilize the Gremlin Airlines again. Drac freaking the fuck out. They get into South America, and Drac's like, holy shit, the sun. Pretty much almost gets run over because he's pretty much blinded himself by looking at the sun. Johnny's able to save him. And then they pretty much get on a bus as we see that Johnny is also getting bigger. And Drac's like, what the fuck's kind of going on there? But then they just go through the jungle, and we pretty much see Drac pretty much having a hard, shitty-ass time. Trying to get through getting eaten by mosquitoes, trying to get water without getting eaten by piranha. Johnny then kind of carrying him and then pretty much leading them into a weirder kind of spot as they kind of fall off the top of a mountain. Johnny getting wings and then them continuing on as it's taking a while. Erica loading the people up to pretty much get them there. One weird bit was that, like, Mavis was on the ship and there was, like, sunlight coming through and she was alright. Now, if they'd explained away that Erica had pretty much changed the tinting so that way vampires wouldn't be killed, because, hey, if Drac was pretty much going to be retiring and they were going to go and do and fuck off and do whatever they want, they'd probably be using this giant kind of blimp thing. But no, it's not explained like that at all. She also even gets, like, thrown out a kind of emergency trap door because it's like a monster killing kind of place, and Wayne's wife is trying to corral and make sure that the kids don't kill each other or themselves or other monsters. Murray keeps trying to stay like awake pretty much, but then they pretty much get connected up with them utilizing the kind of phone kind of thing. Let's see. We see that Johnny's pretty much trying to get Drac to see the positive sides of things. Even though he burnt like his marshmallow, there's still nice gooey kind of stuff in there. There's still positives to get into through life. It's like, okay, yeah, but and they're thinking that they're all kind of closer and everything like that. And maybe it's just like, what the fuck's kind of going on with then Drac bringing the truth up, this of course exacerbating and accelerating Johnny's kind of growth into a giant Godzilla kaiju kind of monster, like being like Drac bad and all that kind of shit. Just like, oh fuck. Then they pretty much race to pretty much get into the crystal kind of part. The rest of the group pretty much getting like separated in there as Mavis is trying to like get Johnny to kind of calm down and get into a kind of better headspace. But then she pretty much just like gets sets a kind of waypoint, gets to the kind of cave as they're trying to get everything kind of worked out. They do eventually find the crystal and have Mavis pretty much use it to shoot Johnny back into human form, but not before Drac pretty much apologizes and says, talking about like accepting him in his family. It's like, I thought we already kind of did this, but alright. And Mavis getting him back to pretty much normal. everybody being returned to normal, but of course they see the whole guinea pig Gigi destroying everything, and then Hotel Transylvania being rebuilt. And there's like some kind of like TV show or whatnot. But this one felt like we were retreading kind of stuff, and that we had, again, another solid premise that we really don't do much with. It's almost like they were like, we have this base premise, we've got the whole kind of journey and thing, and they just don't do as much with it. We just kind of spin wheels for most of the movie before we get pretty much to the resolution. And you never really kind of want that in a movie. Kids, adult, anything. You want a story to feel like, okay, we're going, we've got our ups or downs, we have our heroes meeting their challenges, either getting a setback or eventually having a triumph and getting further through and like moving the story and plot along. It's like, we already did this stuff in pretty much the first one. And Johnny probably would have been able to call bullshit on the monster law kind of thing. And I'm not opposed to, again, Drax's whole kind of need for control. Again, I kind of want them to kind of explore that more, because that's a big kind of motif and a big kind of interesting thing for them to kind of dig into. And it's in all 4 movies, but they don't do anything with it. It's like that thing in the background, that elephant's like, this needs to be dealt with. And it can be integral parts of like the story, and to provide conflict and challenge and drama for what's kind of going on. And I know that's kind of pretty much the base kind of conceit here, but it's like, then it just transforms into like, oh, let's see what happens when the monsters are humans and the human is a monster. It's like, okay, and we just have small kind of bits, like Johnny belching fire, getting bigger, getting wings, getting into kaiju size kind of stuff, and Drac not being able to do all the stuff that he usually does, but still being able to triumph at the end. Like, there could have been more done to kind of make it work in a kind of more interesting way for me. It just didn't really work that well. Now, there's a lot of the whole kind of factors, this coming out during the pandemic, voice actor changes and everything, especially when you've got like the big 2 of like Adam Sandler and like Kevin James being switched out. Let's see. Yes. But I mean, so I do understand what kind of worked out on this. It not going into the theaters right away, it going to like Prime Video or whatnot. Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't really recommend this. There's other movies in the series that even deals with the same kind of subject matter that would work out kind of better, and you just be like, oh, okay, Johnny and Mavis got the hotel, and you're not really missing much. You would think that they would get the hotel eventually because of just what would be going on. Yeah. Not much else really to say on this one. So, those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.